Well, there are two axes in which we looked at it. One is to say, how do you look at slums in a city in contrast to other neighborhoods in a city? And the second axis was, how do you look at slums across city sizes? So how are slums in smaller cities different from slums in larger cities? And if you look at the axis of, across city scales, you again find that slums in larger cities tend to be better provisioned than smaller cities. So for instance, even infrastructures like private toilets, which are, within individual homes, you find more individual homes within slums in larger cities have toilets than ones in smaller cities. So clearly there is the scale effect that infrastructures are first being provided to slums in larger cities. And, maybe there is again an urban hierarchy at work there that, this will have to flow down the hierarchy for us to see improvements in smaller cities. And no surprise, of course, slums are much worse off than other neighborhoods in the city, which means that, all the economies of scale that we spoke about are not actually fully being exploited. Because if you consider the city as a whole, with its slum and its non-slum neighborhoods, and you really were to, generate benefits of economies of scale, you could, actually see slums being much better off. But clearly that is not happening. Yeah. So those two axes, you clearly see that, there are these behaviors that emerge. And I would say that, again, there's a regional signature to this as well. That, slums in the states of the Indo-Gangetic Plain are generally worse off than slums in the rest of the country, in the south and the west. So again, there is a very clear, regional signature that that you see there. But, as I said, I think on slums, we could just, make these, I would say, initial sort of findings or observations. And we didn't want to, over reach, given the data that we had, to say, more. But, hopefully with more, hopefully with the new census and what they put out, we will also get a sense of dynamics over time, because that we currently are unable to do, right? So, and also given the fact that over the last 15 years, India has seen a lot of growth. Yeah. Question is, where is that growth going? Because there is a distributional question. Average rates of growth do not tell us about what is happening, who is benefiting from the growth. There's a lot of concern in work that we have done that shows that a lot of that growth is going to, the upper ends of the income distributions. Yeah. And perhaps, the slum census will allow us to identify, what's happening in slums when India is supposed to have seen this decade of, very high growth.